Okay, so we are now live. Now, let me see where I can share this. Okay. Okay. Okay, I think I got it. So let's see. Yay, it worked. And then, cool. Alrighty. So, Jen, thank
Yes.
you for meeting with us.
You're welcome.
Yes, this is an honor to be speaking with the Banksy of the Uplift.
I'm still not used to that.
Yeah, it's I mean, that's a big name to live up to, right?
It really is.
Yeah. Well, if no one's seen your stuff out there yet, they will very soon. And it's I've gone, or yeah, during the test day, actually, the stress test day.
Yes.
A lot of us got to see that, so it's really great. It blew me away. I did not expect the scale.
Me neither, actually. That was that was a surprise.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So, before we get into everything, please, would you tell us who you are and a little bit about yourself?
Sure. There's probably a lot to tell, but I wouldn't even know where to start. I am a relatively unknown person. I do relatively boring things in the real world. I work in a medical clinic. It's not exciting. I deal with people's problems. And that's kind of life. I have two lovely children that I absolutely adore, happily married. I had hobbies until COVID hit, and then they died. And so now I'm making art in the digital world because that's what's left to do, really.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely.
And it turns out I actually really like it too. So there's that.
Is this I'll get into that. I'll get into that right now. So you're based out of Saskatchewan, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Are you born and raised there?
Not quite.
Okay.
Alberta, the next province west. But my family's from here. So it's not foreign to me in the slightest.
Gotcha. And I understand Corey's from Canada as well, right? Which is your cousin.
Yeah, he's from up north, Yellowknife. I've never been to Yellowknife. It's on my list of things to do one day, but in the summer. I know what a Yellowknife winter feels like because I've lived in Saskatoon. I survived last year. It was minus 50 in March.
Wow.
It was unpleasant. The car froze. Like actually the gas gauge froze. We didn't know we were out of gas. It was a bad time.
Yeah.
North in the winter.
But that sounds a little scary.
Yeah, no, but in the summer though, I don't know. I've heard that Nahanni National Park is a beautiful place, and that's high on my list. Awesome. But maybe like 2 years from now, youngest child needs to grow just a little bit. She needs to be able to carry her own stuff.
Sure, yeah. That's you don't want to be lugging all that around.
Yeah, no, and it's super backcountry, so we need to make sure we're actually ready.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've been to Canada once in my life, and it was for work. And so we did some through the last company that I used to work for. We worked out of the music industry, and we had basically kind of like a dolly cart that was used to carry around musicians' equipment. And then we realized that cart was so great it could be used in other industries, and so we linked up with Home Hardware out there. If you're familiar with that, I'm sure you are.
Yep.
Yeah. I didn't know how big it was until I've never heard of it until we got out there. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. I saw some of Toronto, got to visit the Niagara Falls. I went to the Home Hardware trade show, which was really cool. And then we finished our trip off with visiting like the Amish community out there, and picked up some of their goods, which is delicious. It was really great.
That would be nifty.
Yeah. So it's cool. So how long have you been making art? Do you make art outside of the Uplift?
Definitely. And I want to say forever, but probably not quite forever.
Mm,
I routinely failed art class in school because they tried to teach me to do a thing.
sure.
And that's not how art works. I mean, the techniques are nice to have. It's great, but that's not how art works. How
Mm,
art works is you start off making a mural with a rainbow, and then all of a sudden it's going to have a firework breathing dragon and some weird trees, and then oh look, there's a village in the middle of it. How'd that get there? And so it's not
mm,
um I don't start with a finished project in mind, and I don't do well being limited to a single technique. For practice, that's great.
mm,
6-year-old me did not understand that.
sure.
So it was a struggle. But then, of course, once all that was over, it was just a matter of picking up some art supplies and jumping right in and getting what was in my head onto a piece of paper
Mm.
and trying trying really hard to make it look like it did in my head.
So
So
do you draw?
poorly.
Oh, okay. Is it mainly painting?
I do painting. I do I was looking, I had a drawing here. I this is the drawing. It's not
Ah, cool. I
it's
got
bad.
you.
but, but it's something. I do painting. I do costume making, sort of.
Oh.
Um, I also do performance belly dance, and I have made costumes. I hate it. It is not what I like to do. And I guess other general crafty things.
Mm.
Um, I made a lamp. It's sitting beside me. I'm not going to pick it up and put it in front of the camera. It's too big, but I
No
made a
worries.
lamp. And yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
all kinds of things. I sew, but I don't sew clothing.
Mm.
Straight lines, I'm getting there. Like several years in, I'm getting to the straight lines, but quilts and things I can do as long as they're fairly basic.
That's awesome. So it sounds to me like you just kind of go wherever your heart is at the moment.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
completely.
that's awesome. Yeah. For myself, I don't really consider myself an artist. I mean, yeah, I don't consider myself an artist, but I do like to be creative, just like you.
Hmm.
Few different ventures. I've been recently looking into pottery.
Nice.
Yeah, so I follow what's his name? I forget. I'm drawing a blank right now. Sorry. There's an actor that I follow. What's his name? Is it Seth Rogen? It's not Seth Rogen. Let me see if I can find it really quick. Sorry. I want to show you because it's really cool what he does. Yeah, it is Seth Rogen. So Seth Rogen on Instagram, he does some really crazy pottery. And it's what actually started me in this, or like wanting to do this, which I can't find his account. But anyways, if you guys look up Seth Rogen on Instagram, you'll see some of the coolest pottery. He's a big time stoner, so he does a lot of ashtrays, stuff like that. But yeah, seeing his artwork really inspired me to do my own. This pandemic, my wife and I got into I guess a little bit of botany, working with plants and stuff like that. So
Hmm.
the pottery kind of comes naturally to that. Um, so yeah, definitely, I completely understand. For me, on the other hand, though, I think I'm a lot more linear with my art, where I do start off with an idea and try to hit that exactly. The coming up with something on the spot is a little bit harder for me, but yeah. Oh my cat shows up in every video. Oh, that's awesome. So you can you tell us a little bit more about your creative process?
It really is a process. I mean, it can start with absolutely anything. I can see one thing and think of something completely unrelated and something else that's completely unrelated, and then three more unrelated things later I've picked out a color or material and I'm starting to make something.
Mm,
But it's a lot like that. I would say there's a strange mixture of inspiration, both natural materials and things you find out in the bush, and rainbows and sparkles. I mean, you're not going to find those in the bush.
Right.
Maybe a rainbow, but not sparkles. So it's a lot of all of that. Yeah, like I said, I do performance belly dance as well. So sparkles and rainbows are my thing. I have rainbows and sparkles everywhere, but also being out in the bush. So that's kind of the two sort of places where I would draw my inspiration from.
Okay.
Occasionally kid requests, which they're always a challenge. And occasionally somebody says, can you make a thing with this theme? And I'm like, I don't know how to do that. And then, a couple days later, it's done. So, but I guess that's the other thing. There's almost every request is answered with, I have no idea how to do that. I'm in over my head. But do I worry about that? No. Oh, I'm going to be in over my head. It'll be great. And I mean, honestly, how many times did I flood the Blue Room making that mural?
Right.
Like every time I was in there. It happens. I'm terrible with water. So it happens. But I mean, all the creative processes are like that, though. There's a lot of learning that goes into it. And there's a lot of, I don't know if this is going to work. And there have been a number of long conversations with my husband involving geometry and math because, surprisingly, you'd use that in a lot of things. I had no idea, but math is very, very useful. So that's the surprise of all of it. But yeah, like anything that I would do starts with an idea. And sometimes the inspiration happens and it just comes together nice and quickly. And other times it's a little slower. Like I was asking my son what he wants, what kind of patterns do you like for pillowcases for Christmas? And he's like, Minecraft. I'm like,
oh, nice.
which is both wonderful. And I can't find that anywhere. Right. So if I want to make him a pillowcase with a Minecraft flower on it and a creeper, I'm going to have to find all those fabrics and all those different colors and cut out a bunch of squares and, do it that way,
that sounds like fun.
Be a thing. So that's, it is that.
Right on. That's very cool. How did, so I'm sure Corey got you into the Uplift.
Yes.
What was that like when he brought that to you?
It was kind of like shrugged my shoulders, like, okay, sure, I'll give it a try. I mean, I've been playing Minecraft since 2011, so it's not like I'm new to the game, but definitely new to the possibilities of creating in community. It is wildly, wildly different to play in a community and be able to create things that other people are going to see. Can I create all of this stuff just for me? Yes. Would I? No.
Right.
Not even close. So Corey said, hey, we have this Church of Reason, and it's on the Minecraft server, and you should really come hang out. And I'm like, okay. I know Corey well enough to know that it's not going to be even remotely religious, which is fine by me. So, off I went and invited my husband, and we're like, okay, so what's this church thing? And it turns out it was great. There was a lot of talking and a lot of gratitude and a lot more gratitude and more gratitude, and it just became a thing. And the kids wanted in, of course, because, well, two reasons: because Minecraft and because Corey is their favorite person who's not in our immediate family. So you combine that and everybody wants in on it, and so it's become a thing, and it's a thing that I really don't want to miss now. It's a weekly thing that just, it makes sense.
That's awesome. Yeah. When I come from a church background, and when you think of it in those regards, there's just a lot of like power and freedom in in discussing with others and just putting it out there, like what you're thankful for, and getting into that practice.
Yep.
And when I first heard that they were doing that, it really intrigued me, because you don't really see that anywhere else. People are so quick to just kind of be about their business, wanting to do what they're, trying to accomplish.
Yep.
There's a reason why we have that saying of like be sure to stop and smell the flowers, and with this gratitude practice, it's doing exactly that.
Yes.
And, that really struck a chord with me. And I immediately felt the benefit of that, because like my first gratitude was for my wife. And just being able to publicly state like how thankful I am for her, and for coming along this crazy, journey with me. And, she's always by my side, like ready to go as fast as I am with all these different ventures that we get into. So, and I found myself like, just from hanging out in the community, that gratitude, that's like infectious.
It is. It's amazing.
It's great. And I totally felt that in our Telegram channel. And I found myself throughout the day remembering the community and putting that into practice at home with my family. And it's been great. I've mentioned it to Corey before that, I've never really put as much effort as I am with the Uplift in any other community before online. Like I'm not new to the internet by any means, but as far as communities go, yeah, definitely. Yeah, so it's been a blessing to me. My brother-in-law is now in it. And his wife is in it. My sister. I'm trying to get my wife on board, and yeah, it's fun. So if I can do a gratitude right now, I just want to say I'm thankful for the community. So.
Me too. Absolutely. It's amazing to be surrounded by gratitude-focused people, and also a little strange that crying on the internet has become a thing, but it's become
a thing. Absolutely. Mr. Nick.
Strong feeling.
Right. Yeah. It's because of the gratitude practice, really, and just how good it makes me feel, it makes me want to work hard for the Uplift to make sure that everybody, gets to see this project. I'm always like, nowadays, I'm only talking about NFTs and mainly the Uplift, like on my personal social media channels. And I'm sure like my friends just want me to shut up about it, but it's amazing. Right. And so, yeah,
it's absolutely amazing. And my friends have no clue what I'm talking about, which is the other thing, which I find it so bizarre, but not really. I mean, I'm new to the world of NFTs. I'm new to the world of cryptocurrency. Minecraft is easy, but I mean, that's me. And so I can understand for somebody who's never heard of any of it, they'd listen to me and they think, you're what now? You're making non-real things in a non-real world for a non-real money that's somehow benefiting a charity to build a real thing in the real world with real people. How does that work?
Right.
And it's hard to explain because it sounds crazy. If I had told myself 10 years ago that, hey, Jen, you should learn to play Minecraft because, 10, 11 years from now, it's going to be bananas. It's going to be the part-time job. No, that is crazy. Absolutely crazy. But here we are. Yeah. So, it was a surprise. And I mean, Corey, I've known Corey my whole life, and he's always bringing forth surprises. And a lot of the time I'm thinking, well, maybe I'm kind of curious, but no. And then this one kind of jumped up. I'm like, yeah, I'm in. All in forever until I want to see this one through, because I'm so excited with the momentum and the community and the projects and the creativity. I mean, being around so many inspiring people is inspiring. And that's something that, at the very least, with COVID canceling everything in the whole world, that's something that was really missing. And then to have everybody be gratitude focused and have, some fundraising for a very worthwhile project with Haitian roots. I mean, it's really, really meaningful all of a sudden, and I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for everything that we're gonna experience with the Uplift. You mentioned like the creativity. We haven't, man. I know a bunch of us in the community were blown away by what we saw on the stress test day, but I don't think any of us really are ready for what's to come. Once this world opens up and people really get down to it, it's going to be something. And I hope it gets the recognition that it deserves. Because it's a great community. So, are you whitelisted to any team right now? Like currently building?
Yes. I was actually working on the mural in the Blue Room.
That's right.
Before this, making a silly tree.
Is that through Chicken Cock?
No, that one is Uplift Art.
I see. Oh, gotcha.
And yeah, I asked Corey if it would be okay if I did a small mural outside the train station at the cathedral. Highly visible location. So I was thinking, I was terrified. The whole time I thought, no, it's just going to turn out, I don't know, nobody's going to like it, how that goes. And all of a sudden, everybody liked it. And then Greg said, hey, do you want to do a mural in the cave? And I went, okay, I could probably do that. I have a little bit more confidence. And I started working on it. And suddenly I got a message from M Blue saying, hey, how about the Blue Room? I'm like, wow. Okay, I'm not turning that down. So, I went in, I'm like, oh, this is big. Huh, okay.
Is that the one with the rainbow?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's coming together, but it's going to, in terms of community, it's highly visible. So that's kind of a pretty big deal to be invited into that space. And so I'm trying to make it look like I belong to be invited into that space. Yeah.
You're doing a great job. I took so many selfies in front of that mural.
It is fun. But Chicken Caw, though, you mentioned that. Yes. We do have some really neat stuff going on there. We've been building, there's the giant loom, there's a village behind there, there's a walking trail. I'm working on putting a couple of surprises along the walking trail. That's fun, really, 100% fun. I built the cenote with a hidden treasure room that people can sort of stumble across. So that's a thing. And the creepy tunnel to the creepy temple is also a thing. So, if anybody happens to stumble across that, that's good times. And there's the transportation hub, looks amazing.
Yes.
And the market, Sue built the houses in the market, and they're just, shops. They are gorgeous and unique and interesting. And so it's amazing seeing everything come together there too. So
yeah, for anybody who hasn't seen Chicken Caw, Sue did a great job of doing a walkthrough, and it was pretty great. She has some commentary on there. It's pretty funny. So it was actually really nice. So yeah, definitely go check that out if you guys haven't seen that. How long does it take you to create those murals? I saw you have the one in the Blue Room, and then I've seen the Burning Man one.
Burning Man, I actually wasn't involved in.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, that was everybody else, including my husband. Yeah, I kind of sat that one out because I don't really redstone yet.
Ah, I see.
I used to say I don't really redstone. Now it's just I don't really redstone yet. I will have time to learn that eventually, but not yet. Yeah. So it's on the list. But Burning Man kind of was the eye opener. I think it was the event that said, "Oh, we can do this." Okay. So, I mean, that came together fairly quickly. And I mean, for a mural the size of the Blue Room, I mean, it's taking a very long time because I don't have a lot of free time. I'm working full time. I, for the most part, still really like my job, so I'm not quite ready to give that up. Although the potential for shifting some of that time later is there, and that is an idea. It's a thought. But yeah, I mean, the mural in the Blue Room, I think I started working on at, I want to say, the beginning of March. So it is taking a long time, but there have been other things going on. There have been times when the server was down. There have been times when I've had other stuff going on, and so it's not a constant thing. But yeah,
yeah, that's a big commitment.
Yep,
that's crazy. That's awesome. Are you following any kind of themes when you're creating?
Yes and no. With the cathedral, I wanted to do something on the outside that was focused around the sunrise, because that's really what we're there for, is the gratitude and the sunrise. And then downstairs in the cave, Greg had kind of marked something out, and I thought, well, I'll just work around that idea. With the Blue Room, I was told that I got creative control, so that was interesting. That took a lot of thinking. And I definitely wanted to do something around gratitude, because that's clearly very big in terms of being a theme for the entire uplift.
Right.
I also have a couple things in the works. There was early on an auction for a surprise art. And that again will be going to Mr. Blue. I have something silly in mind for that. We have something on the Boyd land. There will be something in there, and that is space themed. So that'll be interesting as well.
Do you do anything related to space at all?
No.
Okay, cool.
Not really. Well, okay. Well, I shouldn't say that. Let's go back a couple of years. 2019, just before COVID hit, late November, early December, we went down south. We went to visit Corey, and a couple other family members in the area, and we stopped off at NASA and looked at some big old rockets. That was really neat.
Yeah, I bet.
So that's the spaciest thing I've done ever. And it was really cool. Really cool.
Yeah,
if you're ever in that part of the world, definitely. Like we went quite a ways out of our way to make the stop. It's worth it.
Was that down in Florida?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it was really, really neat.
The closest thing I've ever gotten to a rocket like that is silly, but Best Buy used to have like a demo room, and inside was like a half-built spaceship thing. It was crazy, but yeah,
neat.
Yeah, closest thing I've ever gotten to one.
That would be pretty cool too.
Yeah, not too bad. It was cool. I like. I'm a tech guy, so that's where I always went to, all the tech stuff.
Yeah, I like the idea of space exploration. I realize I'm woefully not qualified for space exploration of any kind, but it's interesting, and I like the interesting part. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, we should link you up with. Do you know Bullshipples?
Oh, do I know Bullshipples?
Oh, okay, cool.
Yes. There's a thing, but I don't know if we're talking about it yet because it's all super top secret. So
no worries. I was gonna say, Bullshipples has the Martian. He's dubbed himself Martian Bullshipples. So
yeah,
it's something you guys can work out there.
That's awesome. Well, yeah. I think there's a future for the ideas that he represents in Chicken Ka.
Yeah.
Definitely. And that's about
it. I've gotten to hear a little bit, so yeah, I'm definitely excited.
Me too. Going to be crazy.
Do you with your Uplift artwork, do you have a favorite piece yet that you've done?
No, because I like them. It seems so silly, but I do like them. I don't have a clear favorite. I really, really like the unicorn I did down on the community cluster. That turned out better than I thought it would, because I mean, I showed you the drawing on paper and
Right.
not look pretty. But and I don't know what ever happened to that part of the community cluster, the coffee plot.
Mm.
I'm not sure if it got lost when the server moved or not. But
Oh, right.
there was a rainbow unicorn for a while, and it was pretty fun. But that I like art. I like challenges. I like big spaces, small spaces. And I kind of like too when somebody says, "Hey, make a surprise." And I like when somebody says, "Here's an idea.
Right.
Run with it." So, and I'm also pretty pleased with the party room too. And I don't know if that one's gotten a lot of mention. I had a birthday, and it was COVID time. So what are we going to do for a birthday? So we made a party room and invited everybody to the party room. And it was fun, but it's again full of rainbows and sparkles, and every time you take a piece of cake, the fireworks go off, and you know, all that good stuff. But that was fun.
Very cool, very cool. Were you able to snag any plots of land?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I have a large chunk of land that I built on, and then it was decided that I would keep that. So I'm really pleased with that. I haven't snagged any actual chunks of land. I do have a couple of rail plots. So that's a thing. And yeah, I don't have anything specific yet, but then I keep thinking maybe I want some. I don't know what I want. Do I save the wax? Do I spend the wax? Do I jump all in? I don't know.
Yeah, I sold my PlayStation 5 for wax money so that I can buy the plots of land. I'm all in at this point. So do you have any plans for your plots? I mean, you're already building on it now. Are you sharing?
The plot that I have is the one right near the cathedral with the Rainbow Village. So the Rainbow Village is probably about as complete as it's going to get. If I expand it further, it's going to be a little silly. There are a couple of ideas, because my husband has been building as well. He's got a volcano, and
wow,
everybody should really visit the insides of the volcano because it's cool. And I'm not going to tell you anymore because it's really, you have to see it. If I tried to explain it, it wouldn't make sense.
No worries.
But things that we could do with the land, there are lots of things we could do. We could have some shops, we could have some animals, probably lots of animals. And just I guess too, see where the crazy takes us, really, because that's entirely what it's been. It's been creative and it's been crazy. I would like to have a proper mine eventually. I mean, it's Minecraft. I have an entrance to a mine that goes underwater, but I haven't really done anything with it. So that's, kind of there. And it would be fun to do some large builds of something. But again, I mean, like the ideas will show up. I mean, it's just a matter of having the time, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Your husband plays as well, right?
Yes.
Okay. I think I remember someone mentioning that it was both you and your husband who built the Rainbow Village.
His part of the village is underground. Volcano.
Gotcha.
So it's very interesting. He didn't really help out so much with the Rainbow Village. He was busy working on the volcano, but most of the work on the volcano is on the inside, so it's very less visible. And yeah, it's very neat.
I think I've seen it once during one of the team's Dackathon videos. I think they might have shown it off just a little bit. They didn't go inside, so we only got to see the outside. But
Yeah,
it
the
looked
inside is worth it. And I think there was a redstone rail built around everything so that you can actually drop a minecart and go on the inside now. A little easier. I mean, the hidden entrance is really fun too, but you kind of have to stumble upon it. So
yeah, sure.
yeah.
That sounds interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely interesting. When it comes to your art, do you guys do you plan on building for others, like a service that people can hire you?
I would love that. Simply because there are only so many of my own ideas that I can have, really.
Right.
I've got something going on that could generate some, I don't know, publicity maybe, some hype around what Bullshipples is working on. But that kind of has to come in time. When it's the right time, then that can happen. And that would be making art for people, but not necessarily what they think it's going to be. A bit of a surprise there too. There's always a bit of a surprise. But yeah, if anybody wants art, I might be free in a couple weeks. End of April, probably the end of April, if I'm being realistic.
Yeah, I think. Sorry, go ahead.
So yeah, no, I'm around. I'll do art.
Yeah, I think Corey has been just talking so highly about you and your artwork in the Telegram channel. I'm definitely going to be signing up for that so I can have an original Banksy of the Uplift piece.
Excellent.
Yeah, very, very excited for that. What advice do you have for people that are looking to also do artwork in the Uplift?
Just do it. There's the best way to approach any art is that there is nothing that can actually go wrong with it.
I like that.
If you believe that, then no matter what happens, it'll work out somehow, one way or the other. There is never anything wrong with your art. Does it meet your expectations? Maybe. Is it wildly different than what you first thought it would be? Maybe. Did it not turn out at all and kind of looks like a pile of blocks? Sometimes. But there's nothing wrong with that. It's a learning process. It's an experience. And think outside what things are normally made out of. That would be the only other advice. You can make art with anything. And that goes back again to not being limited to the one technique they're teaching you in kindergarten.
Sure.
Right? Don't limit yourself. There are millions of materials out there. Use what works, not what something would naturally be made out of. I mean, sometimes what it would naturally be made out of is great too, but be a bit creative. And because it's Minecraft, it's three-dimensional. So even if your idea is a 2D idea that you can sketch out on a piece of paper, how do you make that more? How do you give that depth? So that would be the other thing to consider, and just to look at it from all the angles. I mean, if it looks great from the floor, that's great, but what about somebody who climbs to the very top? What are they going to see? And what about somebody who, is looking at it from the sides or the bottom or, the back even? And that the back is important. And if you're working on something that has a backside, it better be a good looking backside. So things like having a well-maintained, nice looking service entrance. I mean, that seems kind of silly, but little things add to it.
Yeah, definitely. The little details really tie the big picture together.
Absolutely. And I guess kind of two other thoughts too. Art is weird. So accepting that will go a long way to making everything seem better. And yeah, it's it is weird. It's not meant to be necessarily straightforward, pretty picture. So some of it is, yes, but some of it is just going to end up weird.
Yeah, I think I actually have a little bit of that issue myself with trying to break out of the box. Because I think I also come from a military background, and that's very very orderly. So
Yeah,
you can almost say that like art is almost the exact opposite of what how you're supposed to conduct yourself in the military.
yes,
In art, you're completely free. And for myself, I like kind of stick to what I know.
yeah,
But like I think what also helps me break out of that is knowing what's available to me, right?
yeah.
So I was playing in like a test server the other day that one of the community members set up, and I just wanted to get away from everyone that was already building in their areas because they kind of stuck together. They were a distance away, but they were still kind of in proximity to each other. So I just wanted to go out as far as I could, and I stumbled on this giant mountain that had like terracotta. Like pink terracotta, some yellow terracotta, and I was like, "Whoa, this is a cool looking spot." And that's where I like just started digging into the side of this mountain, and I wanted to have a really big opening, high ceiling, with this terracotta lining on the walls. And by the end of it, it looked really great. I wish I would have saved those coordinates because I have no clue where that's at. Yeah,
This is the story of my life.
yeah, that's a big issue.
I finally started. I have a tiny little notepad. It was, one of those 25-cent things you can get at the party store that you put in gift bags that you give out to kids, right?
Sure.
At the end of a birthday party. I have one of those on my desk with a pen. And I have now gotten to the point where I have about 10 different sets of coordinates, and I finally
Nice.
started putting names on them because I'm like, oh, I'm going to go to this one. No, it's not that one. What about this one? No, not there.
Oh man.
So, but it's useful just to have something to quickly scribble on.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
Greg asks, do you find the Minecraft block palettes to be restrictive or inspiring?
Both.
Hmm.
It is lacking in certain colors. Oranges would be one of those. It doesn't have a lot of oranges. The pinks are a very Pepto-Bismol pink.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of variety there, and the purples are not. There's not a lot of variety in the purples. At the same time, it can be very inspiring because there are so many different varieties of all the things.
Right.
But you get so many different varieties of all the things, and then you start building with them, and they look one way. Like when you're flipping through your inventory, they look a certain way, and then when you place the block, it sometimes looks a little different. It more blocky, more 8-bit, and less refined. So there's a bit of a contrast there, and something where you look at it in the inventory, it might look wildly different than the thing that's right next to it, and then you place them and they look way too similar. So there is a little bit of that, but it's not that bad.
Gotcha. Do you use like any shaders or anything like that?
No, I keep meaning to do the shader thing, and I keep finding better things to do, like making art. So
Yeah.
it's on the list, but it's lower on the list. It's there with mending my winter stuff because it's not winter anymore, and so really maybe in September.
Yeah, I maybe it's just the noob in me, but I don't use shaders at all. I know people really like it, it enhances the visual, but
yeah,
I kind of like the challenge of working with what I got and coming up with something cool. So yeah, let's see here. So Brad asks, what are your thoughts on survival versus creative?
I love them.
Both of them.
Yeah. That was super nondescript. What I love about survival is that I always die.
Okay.
It's probably something anybody would love, but my survival experiences have been predominantly running around in the wilderness, exploring and looking for really cool places, and then dying. So but since then, I mean, because I was playing survival for a long time, and then I kind of switched over and played a bit of Don't Starve. And I didn't starve, and I did ridiculously well and didn't die. So I think I've learned a couple of lessons that I could probably transfer in terms of run away from all the things that are scary.
Yeah.
Really. I like survival. I really do. It's more of a challenge in a lot of ways. I find creative to be a challenge in a lot of ways too, though, because you have everything. So the challenge is being creative.
Sure.
With my rainbow village and the chicken house and the strange colored clay house with the weird nether trees all over, mushroom trees, that most of it was essentially a survival build without the monsters and the starving.
I see. Gotcha.
I did actually go to the nether. I did actually collect all the things and, came back with, but then, the creative cheaty part was that I used a whole bunch of shulker boxes. So to, carry all the stuff back from the nether and
Sure.
so, there's a good blend, but I do like survival. If I were in a position where somebody wanted to give me a challenge and say, hey, we're doing a survival art project. Are you in? Yeah, I'm in.
Cool. Corey, you heard it? Yeah.
I'm in.
I'll take that challenge too. Shoot.
Yeah, it's nice to have a break in creative and just be creative without having to worry about dying.
Yeah, for sure.
Or, falling from a high place. That happens. But it's also really nice to have that challenge of trying to survive and create something as best as you possibly can with whatever you can find or make.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm yet to try creative, so I've only been playing in survival mode. I actually used to play years ago, but I forgot everything, and so it's been slowly coming back to me.
Things have changed a bit too. There are new things and slightly different things, and I don't know. There's a lot of, when I have ideas, there's a lot of Google research going on.
I see.
How do I do the thing? How do I make a fire underwater? Like in the cenote. So, how do I do that? How do I do this? How do I whatever? And the more questions I ask, the more answers I get, but the more questions I have, and then the further down the Google wormhole it goes until finally I have to be like, no, okay, we have to go finish the project and then come back to it. But it's great because the more I learn, the more tools I have, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's really setting you up for success when all this goes live.
Oh yeah.
Do you oh, sorry, go ahead.
You first.
I was gonna ask. I forgot what I was gonna. Oh, there you go. Do you have a favorite material to work with?
Oh.
Like your go-to?
If you toured my rainbow village, I'd probably say shroom lights.
Okay.
I just love the color, and they're bright and light and stuff. Realistically, probably any kind of a light block that could also be used as an art block. Wool is probably, wool and terracotta would be a tie for favorites. Wool doesn't completely block the light. It lets a little bit through. Carpet will let all kinds of light through. You lay down a layer of carpet over a bunch of lights and your room's lit. So that's nifty. But in terms of other lighting, if you have a 2-dimensional thing or even a 3-dimensional thing, throw your light blocks behind your wool and it will add light to it. So I definitely like that. And terracotta, I mean, you can do so much. The plain, boring, normal, dig it out of the ground terracotta is just so many pretty colors. And then, you throw it in the oven and cook it, and holy geez, all of a sudden it's beautiful. So you can create some really neat things with that too, the glazed terracotta.
Interesting. I'll have to look into all of that. Do you have any go-to resources?
Google.
Okay, Google.
It's not super scientific. There are a couple of pages that usually come up. One of them says it's an official Minecraft wiki. I don't know how official that is, but
Sure, right.
most of the time the ads aren't spammy and don't crash my browser. Most of the time. I
Very
have had a couple surprising crashes, but it's an okay resource.
Mm.
A Google image search is a very good resource if you have an idea and you want to figure out how to make the thing. If you can put the thing into words and image search it, that usually is very helpful. Otherwise, just search for it and see what's out there, because you could be surprised at what you find. There's a lot out there, a lot, and there keeps on. They do more. They add things to the game all the time. So
very cool. So it's crazy, but we're already going on an hour almost.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that really flew. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I do want to get through a couple of questions. And I don't know if you can speak on this just yet. Do you guys have any plans on making your artwork into NFTs?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's not quite a foregone conclusion, but it's the general idea. Turn the art into the NFT and use the Uplift model. 50% goes to the charity and 50% goes to the creator or the group involved, depending on, I mean, the stuff that, yeah, it depends on the model that's being used. Some stuff for the Shibble Foundation will probably lean more even toward the charity side of things. And the stuff that I'm doing as me, the person not affiliated with anybody, would probably be more of a 50-50 split. But the easiest way to get that out there is with an NFT.
Right.
And what's kind of bananas about that is that I could go to somebody's land, build the art, they buy the NFT, and say year or two from now, they think, yeah, I'm kind of done with that. And so they sell it. We can copy and paste the art for somebody else over in their land. We can cut it and we can move it. So it is transferable in that sense, and that's really neat.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'd love to put in a request. I would love something Tron inspired. They have those cool like light beams. Are you familiar with Tron?
No. But
Okay. Yeah. Definitely look into that.
Okay.
It's really cool looking. So I would love something like that if we can talk about that in the future.
Absolutely.
So a fun question. What do you imagine the future of the Uplift will be? I know it's a big one.
Incredible. There is no other way it can go. It started good. It's getting gooder, more good. And the only way it can go is amazing. The future of the Uplift is fascinating because in the community, we're seeing a ton of gratitude pouring in, and a lot of people seem to be in favor of the idea of donating a significant portion of whatever funds are raised to a charity of some sort, and keeping up the creativity, keeping the art. The Uplift, as I see it, is an outstanding example of positivity and creativity. And there's not, the way it's going, I don't think there are very many ways that it could be different from that model. And I find that absolutely fascinating. And I'm very curious to see what happens. I mean, at some point, somebody is going to think they're super creative and draw a dick somewhere. It'll happen.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. And then what? That's a no. But right. So, or you'll get somebody else will come in and say something or do something that doesn't quite fit. And the question isn't so much how that will affect the uplift, but it's more a question of how, as a community, would we respond? Because it's not Corey's responsibility to deal with that at this point. It's all of us to say, what do we want this experience to be? And that kind of decentralized authority is a very new concept to me, and I'm so curious to see where that goes.
Yeah.
What's that going to look like? A year or 2 years down the road. Are we still going to be following the same mission? I think so, but it's my mission, so of course I'm going to be following it. What about everybody else? I don't know, and that's going to be really interesting. Will it be commercialized beyond belief? I don't know. Who knows? But I want to ride that wave though, as far as it'll go, and find out.
Same here. Yeah. So many different routes it can go. And I think like with everything that's coming with like we've heard a little bit before about fractional NFTs. I don't believe anything's confirmed just yet, but we've heard that kind of talked about here and there. And the crazy idea to me is like, I heard somebody had built a building with multiple levels in their building, and in the future, it might be possible to lease out those different levels.
That was kind of talked about today. Yeah.
Yes.
Singing on our conversation that we weren't having.
Yeah, but to think that like it's just so creative, and it's really inspiring because it's like, man, you can. I don't even know how to put it into words, but for me at least, it's inspiring because it's like that really just blew my mind, and I never thought something like that would be possible. Right? It opens up so many different doors, so many different options, fractional NFTs and everything that's coming to the Uplift with like live events and selling tickets. And so I feel like as we go on and as our this virtual world is enriched, I feel like it's just going to parallel the real world, but with an explosion in the creativity, with being able to essentially run a business inside the Uplift. It's just we're appealing to so many different people with how much we can do. So it's hard to pinpoint where we're going, but to say the least, it's very exciting.
Definitely.
Yeah. So my last question, or two more questions for you. What is your dream project? Do you have one?
I think my dream project would involve just quite simply more time to devote. I mean, there's going to be a lot going on, first with Chicken Caw and then with the Schipul Foundation. I mean, selling land, managing land in Chicken Caw is definitely time intensive.
Right.
Pretty, making it pretty, all that sort of thing. Managing any common spaces. But throw in the Schipul Foundation and there's an experiential component to it that is going to be time intensive. And that's something I want in on in a big way. And because it's, well, and I guess that's part of the Uplift that I do want more of would be the experience part of it, because there's the not really physical, metaphysical reality of it. It's there. It's a thing. You can build stuff. That's great. But then there is the experience side, and that's coming. And that's where I'm thinking, do I want to shift how I'm spending the time in my days and have more time doing this? Because being a part of creating the experience and running the experience, all of that would be a really phenomenal feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially to look back on when this thing really takes off and it becomes, you know, once it surpasses all the ideas that we have for it now, to look back and see your hand in a lot of this. I agree. I think it's going to be really great. I've actually been whitelisted under Shipletopia, so I get to jump inside and build a little bit. And I'm right there with you. You know, just being able to spend time in there, and I'm only grinding. Like, I'm just gathering resources right now, but just being able to do that and knowing that, like, you know, this, I put in hours just last night. Like, I got 3 hours of sleep last night. Not because it's a job, but I'm just having fun playing Minecraft.
Exactly.
I got to play with my my brother-in-law in there, so we're grinding away together, and yeah, it's a lot of fun, and we find ourselves kind of talking on the side, like, oh, bro, you know, imagine what we could create over here. Check this out if we did this, and yeah, we're aiding in the building of all this, so definitely excited for that as well.
Absolutely.
Greg here. A question for me. Sorry, my cat. I'm petting my cat, and she, like, her hair's everywhere, so I'm like, it's on my face and it's itchy.
I've had a cat. I understand.
This girl. So Greg asks here, Raul, the original or the remake style-wise? He's referring to the Tron because there's I think there's one that came out in the 80s and then a more recent one in the early 2000s. Don't be disappointed in me, Greg, but I have not seen the original. I've only seen the newer one, so I'd have to go with the newer one. The older one is on my to-do list or to-watch list. So, yeah. So Jen, for anyone who wants to hire you to build on their plot of land when we're able to, what's the best way that they can contact you?
Probably email. I'm super old school like that. I'm not quite comfortable giving out my phone number for texting.
Right.
But email, yeah.
Okay. Email. Okay, cool. You are on the Telegram channel?
Yes.
So I would highly suggest first checking in with her there, and then
yep. I do check that at least once a week. I'm terrible at checking that. The social media is a place where I exist, but poorly. Yeah. Just a second here. I'm gonna do a thing. Yes, it'll let me do a thing. Let's see.
Brad says to me, the fact that you haven't seen that hurt me physically. So I don't know if that's to you or to me, but it's probably to me because I haven't seen the original. Sorry, Brad.
Okay, I think I can do a thing. I will try. Maybe I'm doing the thing wrong. Technology is a delight when it works.
Yeah.
Okay, try this again here. I think it gives me choices. There, I think.
Let's see here. I think I just saw that pull up.
I think that worked.
At your stream.
That's
okay, cool. There's your
email address. Okay. In case anyone has a pen.
Absolutely.
Super. Yeah.
Cool. Let's see here. I'll put that down. Well, thank you so much for meeting with me, Jen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was awesome, and I hope we get to do this again once this is already up and running and everyone's inside the world. I'd love to get you back on here and just kind of recap where things have gone.
It'll be fun. Absolutely. I'm so curious to see how it all comes together. I honestly didn't think the technology was possible to do this, and to learn that it is my wildest dream come true ever, since I was a teenager. So
that's awesome.
It's pretty great. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. When it comes to that, I'm the same way. I'm blown away by everything. The ability. I did play, but I never got, I guess, deep into it. So I never really got into skins or anything like that. And I heard that we're going to be able to possibly skin our mine carts.
That's cool.
Yeah, the whole like QR codes in the world, and
yes, the QR
videos.
Nifty.
Yeah,
super nifty. And yeah, I don't know, the amount of things you could put skins on, and the notion of a command block. I'm kind of sort of that's Ginny's department. She's amazing at it. I'm kind of learning, oh, that's what that does.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's right up there with learning the redstone and mending the winter stuff. It's there, it's in the list, but the possibilities are endless. It's incredible.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Any words of advice before we end the stream today for the uplifters?
Come with gratitude.
Hmm.
If you start with an attitude of gratitude and keep it, everything is going to continue to be amazing. As
awesome.
soon as there's that shift away from that, it's like sailing off into a storm. You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Just keep that focus, whatever it is. And gratitude's not easy if you're not used to it.
Absolutely.
So I get that. There are times when sometimes gratitude looks like, well, I got out of bed and made a cup of coffee. Grateful for that cup of coffee. But, you know, it's something. Put something onto that something and work with it and keep working with it. And eventually it's a snowball that runs down the mountain and bowls you over and is full of good stuff.
I love that. That's so true. And just to add on to that, the gratitude is, when you're not used to it, it's definitely like working out a new muscle.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I don't know. I don't know if anybody else is with me on this one, but like, yeah, if you're not used to it, getting used to it, for me at least, it could almost be kind of draining.
It is.
You know, trying to look on the bright side. So, but it does get easier.
It does. And then once you find that bright side, it gets emotional real fast. That's a whole picnic too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I guess the only other piece of advice is, if you think you don't know how to do a thing, just do it. Don't worry about what you don't know and how to whatever. There's Google for what you don't know. And if you don't get in there and start trying, it won't work.
Right.
And if you're afraid to try, it really won't work. And I'm going to keep going back to how many times I've flooded the blue room making a mural. It gets bananas. I've had to fix that so many times.
That's awesome.
And the one time I fell into the void in the floor, and but get out there and do it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think if I can add anything for everyone watching, definitely jump in, right? Jump in head first into the gratitude aspect. Because in this community, gratitude takes you a long way. It wasn't even a week that I was hanging out on the Telegram channel, and just me being so excited about this new technology with NFTs and crypto, I decided to start this channel. And no experience in front of the camera at all, hardly, besides like some stuff that I used to do for work. But when you're showing gratitude, it shows, and people respond to that. And when I reached out to Corey for some basic questions or basic talking points that I can cover in a video that I was going to make on the Uplift, he volunteered to let me interview him, and that turned into me interviewing all these other people and yourself and more to come. And it all came off of that, that one day, and just jumping into the gratitude. So definitely, guys, it's a great community. It's one unlike any other. Totally with you on the gratitude. So thank you for bringing that up. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Cool. So with that, I guess this is a good place to end it here. Again, I'd love to have you back on someday. So yeah.
Thanks for the invite. This has been fun. It's always good to confront the unexpected.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
Often,
cool, guys.
Positive experience.
Cool. Well, if you can, I'm going to end it right now, but if you can hang out for a little bit, that'd be great. Cool. All right, guys. Talk to you later.
Good night.
Let's see.